up, Define Nation, and welcome to another episode of Define Your Health with Danielle Girdano, strength through knowledge. And we sure are going to get the knowledge today, cardiovascular knowledge to be specific. We have an amazing guest here today who flew all the way in from Chicago, Illinois to be with us in Dallas, Texas. Although I'm not exactly sure how much warmer it is here versus Chicago. But her name is Judy Feldhausen, and she is the pinnacle of technicians across the United States that deal with a cardiovascular testing device called the Max Pulse machine. Now, this machine, Define Nation, is absolutely amazing. You know that we're always technology focused and innovative focused on this show, and this is going to be a prime example of that. The Max Pulse is something that was just recently approved by the FDA. Now, among other things that it does show what kind of blockages are in the arteries and the veins and the capillaries and all this good, wonderful things that make up our cardiovascular and our circulatory systems. But to put it in perspective, most people know about the treadmill stress test. That's probably one of the most popular tests that cardiologists can order and run if they think that somebody has cardiovascular disease or is at risk or after they've had some sort of a cardiac episode. Now, understand that when you take a treadmill stress test, you have to be a minimum of 72% blocked before that treadmill stress test picks up anything. The Max Pulse test that was recently approved by the FDA, less than 10% it can pick up blockage. That is amazing. That could be the difference between months, weeks. We're way beyond minutes when it comes to identifying a problem ahead of time and being able to deal with that problem. And, you know, of course, on our show, we're going to deal with it holistically. So, Judy, thank you so much for coming. The Cardiovascular Wellness Group, my goodness. I mean, St. Louis. Recently Dallas, brand new in Dallas. We also have, of course, Chicago. We have Tampa. What are some of the other cities that you guys are in?
Well, we're also in Seattle, and thank you so much, Danielle, for having me on the show today. It's so exciting to be here in sunny Dallas.
Sunny Dallas.
Sunny Dallas.
Cold, but sunny
to
Dallas.
me, it's a sunny Dallas. 18 inches of snow in Chicago. So great to be in Dallas and this warmth. So Cardiovascular Wellness Chicago recently branched out to Orlando and St. Louis and Seattle, and we're also opening in Denver. Just flew in from Denver because we're opening a branch there, and we are so happy to be working with great professionals like you all over the country that know that cardiovascular health can be prevented, poor health can be prevented through natural means, and we just need to spread that word.
Well, and we know that Cardiovascular Wellness Dallas is your favorite, right?
Yes.
All right, Define Nation. And one of the coolest things that we might have ever done on our show is we're actually going to do a test. Where Raul, my wonderful producer, has volunteered to be the guinea pig. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the show, where we're actually going to put him through this test, and we're going to see what kind of condition that his cardiovascular system is in. So stay tuned, Define Nation. We'll be right back after this break.
Spinning round and round for hours.
Hi, I'm Julie Schrell, and I'm president of Be the Difference Foundation. Our mission is to be the difference in the fight against ovarian cancer. Won't you join us by riding in our event, Wheel to Survive, on February 22nd? Make a donation, be a sponsor, volunteer, and help us fight ovarian cancer today. For the people that we love and care about in our lifetime, we can be the difference.
Considering a career change? The Cooper Institute offers education, training, and job opportunities to fitness lovers like you every month. Visit our website, cooperinstitute.org, or call 972-341-3200 today. cooperinstitute.org or 972-341-3200.
And we're back, Define Nation, and we are talking cardiovascular health and really the prevention of poor cardiovascular health today with our guest, Miss Judy Feldhausen, all the way from Chicago. She says it's warm. We'll just have to take her word for that after she dug out of 18 inches of snow to be here today. So, Judy, I mean, cardiovascular health. The United States has some of the poorest cardiovascular health no matter what statistic it seems like you look at in the entire world. Obviously, we're an extremely obese country. We're a country that does not get up and move. And one of the most shocking statistics that I was reading pretty recently was that, children as young as 9 and 10 are now getting cardiovascular disease. And that's astounding to me. I mean, who would have ever thought you'd have children? You think cardiovascular disease and it's grandma, grandpap, uncle, Bob or whoever it is that's 98 and a half. You don't think of a young, vibrant child. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you say that, Danielle, and it really scares me, because if you look further into the statistics, you will see that those same children will not outlive their parents, because we don't die of diabetes, but we die of the complications of diabetes. And those complications are blindness and limb amputation and so many other things that we cannot live a full, great life because we are on additional medications that cause additional side effects. And so at Cardiovascular Wellness, what we want to do is put a stop to all that. Actually get back to the basics. Get back to the basics of true health and wellness, first of all, through our diet. And that's so important. With exercise, of course, that is really important with Define Nation. Have you ever had a workout with Danielle? You'll know how important it is.
Judy, just stay tuned. We might do some burpees before you leave.
Oh, my dear. But not only that, is we have to educate our children. We have to educate their parents. Do you know that 4-H started not for children? 4-H started actually for the parents, for the farmers and ranches in the rural areas that did not know about good health and nutrition. And
did not know that.
Yeah, so we want to help the parents so that they can teach their children properly on really what is important. And what is important is not going into the McDonald's drive-through or the other fast food chains. And if you do, to make healthy choices while you are there. And I know that a lot of the fast food companies are changing their motto to healthy choices, and I applaud them for that.
I'll grunt. You applaud. I'll grunt. Okay. Well, and cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in the United States. Whether you want to look directly at things like heart attacks and debilitating cardiac issues like that, or you look at something like stroke, or you look at how cardiovascular disease limits life. We talk so much about living and not just existing, and so many people just seem like they're existing through life. And I think cardiovascular disease, in my opinion, has a lot to do with that, because we've become so relaxed and not relaxed, but we've become so we've settled for what could be, because we exist from day to day, not what is out there and going and attacking life and getting at it. And I think it's scary, especially for women. It's growing rapidly in women. I think that's the fastest pacing group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, there are more women now die of cardiovascular disease than actually men. And the statistics are that cardiovascular disease actually kills more people in the U.S. than the next five diseases combined. And what is interesting is that the fourth killer of people in the United States, when you think of it, most people say, oh, well, it's probably accidents or something. Well, it's actually prescription drugs. And it's the drugs that we're putting in our bodies that are causing the side effects, that are creating additional diseases. So if you have a heart attack and you're on a drug, you're not going to probably die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
But you will die of something else that the drugs have caused. So we want to put a stop to that. We want to teach people that there is another way. Did you know that the 1998 Nobel Prize was won in medicine for the issue of preventing and even reversing heart disease, and no one knows about it?
Well, I wouldn't say nobody, but not enough. How about that? Not enough. And that is something that we are going to tackle here on Define Your Health. That's endothelium function, I believe, is what you're referring to. And we are definitely going to get to that. Not today, but we will get to it. I promise. And so really, in your eyes, what have you seen in the evolution, since this is, what you do? And now we have this amazing device, which, I think technology is wonderful, as long as it's, used responsibly, I think technology is wonderful. And I couldn't agree with you more about the pharmaceuticals. I think, do you ever see those commercials where, it's either, or a magazine article, either one, where they have the ad, and then if it's a commercial, there's like 45 seconds worth of disclaimers at the end, or there's a magazine ad, and then there's like 3 pages of disclaimers, and it's like, oh my God. And you listen to some of these side effects, it's like, death, it's just crazy to me. That people put something so foreign in their body, help one thing and harm 10 others. So what have you really seen over the past, let's just say 5 years, because technology has evolved things so quickly. What have you seen over the past 5 years from where we kind of, went from, cardiovascular disease just being a heart attack and a treadmill stress test being the only method of testing available to where we are now with devices like the Max Pulse that are coming out that are just so much more sensitive, provide so much more information, and is so much more comfortable, and it's not invasive for the patient to actually use. What have you seen over the past 5 years?
Well, you make a good point, the differences, and not only physically, you said non-invasive, this is, which you'll see later, it's totally non-invasive. I always tell people it's the funnest screening they'll ever have.
Just because it's you giving it.
Because it's me. Absolutely. But not only that, it is really easy and educational. So there's that too. But I spoke to a gentleman I screened about 4 or 5 months ago, and he didn't tell me anything before the screening. I gave him his screening. I gave him her results, and he said, that's very interesting what you just told me. Like, okay, interesting in what way? He said, in 3 minutes, you told me what my cardiologist did with a $7,000 nuclear test did. That I had to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to get results from. And how come that little machine could do that in 3 minutes?
I'd be asking, why am I around anything nuclear? I mean, oh my goodness, really? I mean, oh God. Okay, so it's all about education and letting people know that there is another option, and someone does not have to have an event. And, we talk about why cardiovascular disease everyone doesn't know that it's so deadly. And that's because it is so deadly. The first symptom of a heart attack is what? Yep, it's death.
It's death.
It's death.
And
people
you
don't know
can't come back from that and say, oh, gosh, I just died and had a heart attack. I'm changing my diet now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, and it's all about, everybody wants another day. They want another birthday, another anniversary. They want another everything, but they're not willing to pay that today. They want to wait until something happens, or they're forced to. And preventative is so important. So very quickly, right before we go to break, Judy, can you kind of just go through in a nutshell what exactly the Max Pulse does? Like, how does it test? How does it give you all of this information? What exactly is a heart rate variability testing device?
Well, heart rate variability has been around actually for 2,000 years. And
I knew those cave people were smart.
They were. Have you ever heard of an acupuncturist?
Yes.
Yes, well, we all have. When I spoke to my acupuncturer, who's a member of our team, we talked about being able to listen to heart rate variability through someone's fingers. And that's what an acupuncturist does. They can actually listen to all the different waves in the heart. They are so sensitive, their fingers are so sensitive that they can catch all the differences in the variability of a heart. A stethoscope cannot. A stethoscope hears 2 beats. It hears a systolic beat and a diastolic beat. So if you've ever been to a doctor's office and you've ever seen something on the TV, it's boom, boom. That's it. And that doesn't tell us how strong the heart is. Or more importantly, not only the heart, but the entire cardiovascular system. Because cardiovascular disease isn't just about the heart.
That's right.
It is about our arteries, our veins, our capillaries, and our venules. It's the whole nutshell.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that I think is amazing about this test is it will give you your stress levels too. I mean, it's so encompassing what it all includes. And so I'm excited. And so we're going to get Raul all prepped up here so he can go through the Max Pulse testing. And you guys stay tuned as we cut to Vivian James for the Cooking Corner.
I love garlic, and I use lots of it, being an Italian. Did you know that garlic is part of the allium family? Onions, shallots, scallions, leeks, and chives. Increasing research is showing that they may actually speed the body's elimination of carcinogens and perhaps block the start of cancer or inhibit the growth of some cancer cells. Garlic in particular, when cut or crushed, produces a compound called allicin. People who regularly include allium vegetables in their diets have less risk of cancer, particularly cancers on the stomach and colon. For more information on this, you can go to the pcrm.org website. However, when you buy garlic, you either need a lot at one time or only need 1 or 2 cloves, and the rest sits and dries up. And when you reach for it, One solution is to buy it in a jar. However, I never liked jar because it always has this funky smell to it, and I wonder what they put in it besides oil and garlic, not to mention it's a bit pricey. Then a light bulb went off on my head. You can do it yourself. Start off by buying several bulbs of garlic, separate the cloves, and remove most of the papery skin and trim the hard bottoms off. Place all the garlic in a food processor and finally chop. Place crushed garlics in a glass jar, and depending on how much garlic you have, place a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of olive oil in it, cover it, shake it, and refrigerate until needed. The garlic will last for several weeks. It may actually last longer, but it's never lasted more than that in my household.
And we are back, Define Nation. And yes, it is time. Raul, say hello to Define Nation.
Hello, all you beautiful people. So lovely being here today.
Define Nation, let's get this party started. Judy, go ahead and explain to Define Nation exactly what you're going to do, and let's do this test, and let's see where you're at, Raul.
Okay, I'm so excited to see all these waves going over my machine with Raul here. What we're looking at is actually a picture of what the heartbeat will look like. So Raul, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to set this pulse ox on your finger. And if everybody's ever seen a pulse ox, if they've ever seen a TV show that has someone in the hospital, they measure oxygen levels out of something called a pulse ox. Well, a pulse ox does other things too. We are actually not going to measure your oxygen level today, but we are going to look at how the blood is going through your circulatory system. So we're going to put this on your index finger of your right hand. That one, exactly.
Now, I'm supposed to stay quiet after this?
In a moment you will, absolutely. So not yet. You can still relax. You want to uncross your legs. Your job is to sit back and relax for 3 minutes. You want to take this hand with the pulse ox and put it over your heart. So what we're going to do, can you see the screen okay, Raul?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I need my glasses?
Not if you want to see, depends.
Hold on.
So what I like to do with my patients that are sitting in my chair is to educate them during the 3 minutes. So I'm going to be going over different things that are going on the screen. And for our great radio audience here, you may not be able to see what we're saying, but just imagine in your mind, and I'll try to explain it as we go along. So I'm going to hit the start button here. What you want to do is now you cannot talk or respond for 3 minutes. Now I'm going to be speaking for 3 minutes, and you cannot answer me or nod my head. Usually I have Nazi police with me, so today I'm going to ask Danielle to be my Nazi police.
I'm going to be the enforcer.
So just so you know that you cannot nod. This does depend on a quiet body.
So perfectly still.
Perfectly still.
Don't do that. All right.
So this is real life here that we're doing. Very similar to what I do every day in doctors' offices for doctors all over the country. So as soon as I hit the start button, you cannot move or talk for the 3 minutes.
I got you.
Okay. So the machine has just started. The first thing that it does is it takes all the information off of the wire that is attached to your pulse ox and puts it into my little magic box that's sitting next to my computer. There's 16 wires in there, and those wires actually take all the information and decipher it and put it into the machine. So the first thing we want to look at is there's a bunch of waves on top of the machine. Those waves actually are your pulse. So when you go into the doctor's office and the nurse is listening to your pulse with her fingers, what she's really doing is counting the tops of those waves, and that equals your pulse. The next thing we're looking at is your actually heartbeat in real time. So most people are really similar to the systolic and the diastolic beat. That's what the doctor listens through the stethoscope. So that is on this machine, but if you notice, there's a lot of stuff going on between those beats. There's just little lines going through that. Well, that's what we're measuring today. We're measuring what's going on between the beats, and that actually tells us how the blood is running through your cardiovascular system. If you think about it, when you go into your kitchen and you turn on the water, you expect water to come out, right? So when that water comes out, sometimes it comes out strong and sometimes it doesn't. Well, it depends on what condition the pipes are in. If the pipes are in poor condition, if they're clogged, if it's years of abuse, maybe they're not connected properly, the water is not going to come out as strong. Well, that's kind of what we're looking at here, is how the pipes in your system are actually running. We're looking at your resting heartbeat. If you notice, it's going up and down just a little bit. I always thought, oh, you have to have a strong, steady heartbeat. That's what I learned. Well, that's not exactly right. Really, what we want is a variable heartbeat, and I'm going to tell you why that's important in just a minute. Here we're looking at something called your HRV tachogram, and those are little squiggly lines that are running through the screen there. And for those of us who have been around more than a few years, you probably had a car you worked on back in the garage that wasn't sounding right, and we would put the car engine on something called a tachometer, and a tachometer was actually a light, and that light looked at that car engine to see if that car engine was running smoothly, was it missing, exactly what was going on. And that HRV tachogram is kind of doing the same thing with your heart. It's looking at how steady your heart is. This is a 3-minute screening. You see a timer here on the bottom of the screen. We're already at 2.5 minutes, so when it gets to 3, then you can start talking again. Over on the right-hand side, you see a bunch of little yellow dots, and every time your heart beats, a little yellow dot gets put into that screen somewhere. If your heart was completely steady, it would look like one blinking light, but there's a lot of yellow dots on the screen, and that's because our hearts are variable, and it's important for our hearts to be variable. And if you think about it, our hearts have to practice. Just like I wouldn't ask you to go salsa dancing in a contest tonight if you hadn't practiced first, right? You tell me I was nuts. Well, the same thing happens with our hearts. They have to practice by going up and down a little bit. And so our 3 minutes is over, and your screening is done. So you can take a deep breath and give me the pulse ox back. Okay. Now, so tell me, Raul, what was that experience like for you?
Uneventful.
Uneventful?
It sounds like there should be a yet at the end of that or something, the way
No,
he
it was
said
uneventful.
it.
I was expecting like a little box opening up and a punching bag hit me in the face or something like that.
Oh, Lord.
Well, that's coming up.
Oh, Lord.
Next segment.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So now we are actually already have the results of your screening. This happens just momentarily as it analyzes. So we have different levels of cardiovascular health, and those levels are type 1 through type 7, 1 being the most ideal and 7 being the most compromised. So if you come out as a type 1, that means that your system is basically clear with no blockage, with smooth and elastic arteries. Everything looks pretty clear. And question you may ask is, so, well, if I'm not a type 1, does that mean only young people are type 1s? And the answer is no, actually. You are put into your age and your gender so that you are against other people.
Well, I'm wondering if I get over 7.
Well, you can't get over 7. I have actually never screened a 7.
Okay, good.
Don't be an overachiever today, Raul. Don't be an overachiever.
Yeah. So if you look at everything for you, Raul, everything, you're kind of average. But let me explain what that. I'm sorry, you're average. To me, you're number 1.
I was just about to say, in our hearts,
Oh, quit kissing up.
You're wonderful. Okay.
But let me explain to you the things that we're looking at. We're looking at your overall cardiovascular health. That's this DPI. Then we're looking through eccentric constriction. And eccentric constriction is actually what some people think of as plaque buildup. But in our case, we're not really talking about plaque buildup. We're talking about constriction of the arteries, because a lot of things can constrict the arteries. A lot of things can constrict the arteries, not just plaque, cholesterol, but also red blood cells, white blood cells, lipids, fats, a lot of things. So if someone's arteries are constricted, then they could be constricted with a lot of different things. The next thing we're looking at is actually arterial elasticity, and that's AE here. AE tells us the flexibility of our arteries. As we mature, you've heard of a disease called arteriosclerosis, right? Or hardening of the arteries. A lot of people think that that is a killer, and it can be a killer, but you know what? It is completely 100% reversible through natural supplementation, which is absolutely amazing. And the last thing on the screen is remaining blood volume, and that looks at the efficiency of your heart, how efficient your heart is beating, and how the blood is flowing through the heart. So that's basically the basic screening, except we also have a chance to look at your stress score.
Now, she did this when I was sitting here, really? No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
And we're not in a doctor's office today, and it's not exactly the same. So, we're just doing this today for our audience. So, average stress score in the U.S. is 50, and stress is made up of different scores. And actually, your physical stress is a little higher than your mental stress. So, if I was going to ask, if you were a patient of mine, I would be asking you questions about how your body feels right now.
I work late night at another job. I got off the air at 4 o'clock this morning. Got some sleep. Got here by 9:30.
Oh, wow. And you know what? Your body is...
Is it showing that?
Your body is showing that.
Okay.
Your body is showing that.
No,
Lots
didn't
of
drink
stress.
coffee all day long.
Yeah, but your body is showing
I am
it.
looking forward to a big nap.
Good, because your physical stress is higher than your mental stress.
Okay.
So we're always going to be okay to continue on, right? We'll have them for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a great screening here. You've got some great results, some challenges, some things that we would want to work on for you, and other than that, I'm so glad that you sat with me today.
Thank you.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for coming all the way in and braving the cold. And yes, 50-something here in Dallas is cold to us. So, yes, it is cold here. Thank you so much for coming. And this has just been an absolutely phenomenal experience. Define Nation, we are going to have the link up for the Cardiovascular Wellness group on our Facebook page and also on our website, all of our social media outlets, as a matter of fact, including YouTube and Google+, if you haven't had a chance to check those out. Also, remember, Define Nation, we have that $500 gift pack giveaway that we're going to be doing. So I hope you paid attention, because the trivia question will come from this show that you just listened to and all of our cardiovascular talk. We also want to thank our friends from Nordic Naturals, Pop Chips, Zevia, Soy Joy, Kind Bars, and of course our Cardiovascular Wellness of Dallas folks. Until next time, Define Nation, remember, motivated, dedicated, and highly recommended. Bye-bye.